Look, in his recent report adopted last year, Enrico Letta was worried about the emerging perception of the negative effects of the single market. And he said that if this perception is not addressed, this could erode the public and political support that is vital for the success of the single market. What he meant by that is that we need to be sure that every European citizen has the substantive freedom to decide where to live. And for that to happen, Europe needs to be sure that he build and support these people wherever they are, in whatever community and territory and regions, to have a decent quality of life, decent standard of living, decent access to public services, connectivity, and decent job. This is what the right to stay is. Well, look, I think that Europe is doing a lot, notably through cohesion policy, which is the main investment arm of the union budget, by providing significant funding precisely to provide those services, where there is housing, where there is schools, where there is hospitals, where there is digital connectivity of roads and physical connectivity of remote inner places that are declining in terms of demography and economic activity. With the talent booster mechanism, we are providing a zoom in and a specific support to these areas by providing direct technical assistance, by helping them to design the reforms that are needed to address those problems, by supporting innovative investment projects and facilitating cooperation between localities, by working with the OECD to define reforms and to identify what are the better policy mix to attract talent and economic activity in the regions.
I think it's very important that we understand that we are in a middle of a transition. So it's an aging transition, and we need to keep in mind that countries are differing a lot in that transition. Some are going to find it way more challenging to deal with it, other countries much easier. Now, secondly, what is very important in this transition is not to forget about youth. Because in the transition, we are all concerned about the aging population. What are we going to do with long-term healthcare? How are we going to encourage people to work longer and so on? But let's not forget that in this transition, due to sustained low fertility levels, we now have, in the first time in history, a cohort of young people that is the smallest, relatively speaking to the older, that we ever seen before. So we need to be careful, and we need to prioritize the young generation coming up now.
Saxony-Anhalt has identified competitiveness as a strategically important topic at a very early stage. We have come a long way. Unemployment rate has dropped, more and more companies are investing in Saxony-Anhalt. But we still have a long way to go, and that's why we advocate for a well-funded, forward-looking cohesion policy in the next funding period.
There is no one-size-fits-all approach. At the OECD, we have taken a different approach, which is creating what we call a regional attractiveness compass, to help precisely all types of regions seizing the benefit of new industrial policy, seizing the benefit of shifting global value chain. And we are looking at a wide range of indicators to assess their position vis-à-vis their capacity to attract talents, their capacity to attract firms, and their capacity to attract visitors, which is also very important. And again, each region has its own story, but basically there are some common features. Very important, not to think that just by providing tax breaks will ensure that you will receive, you will attract new companies, new firms in your territory. You need to have the right skill, and thus come the question of harnessing talent, providing upskilling, but making sure that you don't just focus on attracting talent, but also upskilling your local people. Okay, that's a very difficult thing, because my call to for region is for region and for nation again, and they don't have the same. So I would say, region, please, build your narrative, create your mix for regional attractiveness, and work with your citizens and your local businesses to make this narrative appealing. And I would say to nation, put your region at the core of your national agenda for competitiveness, for investment, for industrial policy, for productivity. This is where growth comes from, and this is where you can ensure that you have aggregate economic growth and prosperity.
First of all, I would like to say that it was very interesting to meet all the regions and the countries that are under the Talent Booster mechanism. And I say that there are a lot of challenges and opportunities that resonates with our region, the West region. The most important, or the first key takeaway that I took from the Talent Booster mechanism meeting yesterday is that talent is a complex issue, and when it comes to talent, when we cannot talk about talent in silos, but we have to apply a systemic thinking. There are a lot of interlinked challenges, and they are all interfering with each other. So West region has a lot of challenges, like the economic resilience that is hindering talent attraction and retention, the innovation performance, the territorial challenges, and last but not least, the educational challenges, the misalignment of skills with the future of workforce. I would like to also not leave behind the quality of life challenge, that I haven't heard so much about it yesterday. So it's important, not only the career development opportunities are important, but also the conditions of living that are attracting and keeping talent in the regions. We consider this technical assistance support as a first step in developing some important schemes or measures, financing schemes for keeping talent in the region. Technical assistance helped us have a diagnostic report and assess our main challenges, needs and gaps, and helped us also to develop some actions that now we are trying to implement through the cohesion policy.
Demographic concerns, demographic issues are widespread in Europe. Demographic changes are the worst. So just the occasion to have a number of regions here exposing the situation, the problem, the experiences, the pilot projects, so on, is so inspiring. That the change of ideas. That's for us is gold. That's the main experience. This is a process that's in the making. So in this midterm point, I would like to highlight the methodology implemented by the OECD team that has managed to create amount of tension among our colleagues, my colleagues, the members of the regional government. So the objective of raising the awareness of demographic transversality, the transversality of the demographic problems, has been achieved to a significant degree, and that's, for me, it's very good.
Well, concretely, the TSI is helping us with two strategies at regional level that we are developing. First of all, the strategy for digital transformation that also aligns with our regional strategy to better support enterprises and entrepreneurs in our region. So the TSI is concretely linked to improve our services developed for our companies and our entrepreneurs in our region. So it implies to use AI, deep tech, to review how we are working with them, if we are fast enough, if it's easy enough to do business in our region, and how we can really reach better our entrepreneurs throughout our region.
If you look at the innovation ecosystems and if you look on the innovation value chain, it started with the basic schools, going through the high schools and universities, and ending with the companies and with the competitiveness of the companies. So in each of these segments of the value chain, in each step, it's really important to have talents, to harness them, to give them the opportunities to grow and to retain them in the region. So they are very important. They are important because if we nurture the talents in the regions and we learn from each other, we will be helping the European Union to be more innovative, to be more competitive and more united, and especially we will be helping the European Union to stay such a great place for living as it is now.
There is no single solution. We can't just focus on one thing. Attracting and keeping talent means improving many aspects of city life at the same time, not just for the young, but for all citizens. We have to make Celje more lively and connected, transform empty spaces into places where people can work, create and socialize. We also have to create better job opportunities, help businesses grow, support new ideas, and ensure young people can find good jobs locally. Also improving daily life, investing in better transport, affordable housing, access to nature, and creating a city that feels welcoming and vibrant. And especially involving the community, giving people a real say in how the city develops so they feel part of its future. And in the end, we need to rebrand Celje, changing the way people see the city and showing that it's not just a place to pass through, but a place to build a good life.
To assist regions to tackle demographic challenge, cohesion policy and its tools must remain under regional control for the implementation and development of the regional programs. To tackle demographic challenge, place-based approaches are a must. The variety of factors included in the challenge requires tailored solutions.
Well, one of the first things that comes to my mind, of course, is to help with migration schemes and integration with migrants. I think this is number one. Number two would be have a look at the money that goes to regions, and especially to those regions most in need. And thirdly, have a look at how the lack of skilled labor can be compensated. Well, I think what they could do is also to have a look at how working time is dispersed there, what they can try to trigger, of course, at the national level, because that's a national competence and not a regional competence, would also be to ask if it would be possible to extend working lives for those who want, if there wouldn't be any incentives for those people who would like to continue working after retirement age, but also for those people who are just working part-time and not working full-time, and they are working part-time because they just like it. and not because there is any specific need to do that. So my question or my recommendation would be to look at the labor market and to tap the untapped potential that is still being there.